This is the second channel version of the Frog Boy color. Essentially, this is just me doing all of the hard parts live for entertainment purposes only. This is not a tutorial. I'm too scared to give a tutorial because I don't really know what I'm doing. I never really know what I'm doing, but I can fake it till I make it with a lot of the easier stuff. This, I've done enough of the GBA boards now. In fact, I literally did like 10 of them, 11 of them, something like that over the weekend in preparation for doing this because it's a very similar mod, but it's still a little nerve-wracking. And I've also never done a GBA crystal before, and I'm realizing that this crystal has 6 solder points. This only has 2, so I'm wondering if that's going to be an issue. Guess we'll find out. I also don't have batteries or speakers yet. I'm still waiting for those to come in, so if you want to find out if it works, you'll have to watch the main channel video. But mostly the purpose of this video is to show off like how hard it really is or really isn't. It's probably going to be hard. And also I have a new tool that I want to show off. This is a solder sucker, but also a soldering iron at the same time. So it should, in theory, make it easier to remove things like the cart slot pins here, or at least remove the solder from the cart slot pins so we can remove the cart slot easier, because they don't make aftermarket GBC cart slots that I know of. Otherwise, I'd be using an aftermarket one because I'm going to be using an aftermarket link port. But this is just a cheap one I got off of AliExpress. Don't expect it to be amazing. I guess we can just start with that so I don't melt the cart slot when I remove the other things with hot air. Don't really need that quite yet. Let's plug this in, shall we? Also, this is a really bad board, if you couldn't tell. So I tried to save it, did not save it. But I think everything else is going to be just fine from this, because it's really only from like here down that it's pretty messed up. And I think I did get it to turn on at some point. So yeah, we're just going to take the things that we need from this one. And this is plugged in, and I guess just has one setting on it for heat, because I'm not seeing a dial or anything anywhere. Not even an on-off switch. Cool. So I guess we'll wait for this to get warm. I don't know how long that's going to be. I can smell the coating on the metal burning, so we're getting somewhere. While that heats up, I'm going to go ahead and put some flux down on all these pins. Oops. Flux is your friend, not food. Fun to play, but not to eat. So we'll see if this works or not. I feel like it's probably warm enough now. Oh, whoa. I don't know if it showed up on camera. That was kind of weird. Smoke gun. Okay. You push this part in till it locks in, and then this button will be your release. So we can hold it over the spot we're going to desolder and press the button, and that sucked. Not in the way we wanted to. Maybe it's not warm enough yet. The metal's a little shiny. Maybe I have to hold it there for a second longer. Whew. Maybe I should have some better ventilation going right now. This is not doing what I had hoped. It's smoky though. Sure is smoky. Maybe hold it there for a second. Now release. This is not doing what I'd hoped. Okay, that was better. Try and zoom in a little bit on this camera because the top-down camera is pretty much useless. Okay, I think we're getting up to temperature now. Gotta let the solder flow. Then bam! Okay, there we go. Maybe it just wasn't up to temperature yet. It's a little confusing when it blows all that smoke. Dude, I might actually get some ventilation going. Yeah, okay, you gotta hold it there for a second. I'm gonna go get my air purifier. This smells nasty. Please don't burn the house down. I'm sorry if this is gonna ruin the audio, but I care more about my lungs. Not that sorry. No, I'm actually not sorry at all. Yeah, you gotta make sure you're getting the solder flowing. Oh, and I got both at the same time there. Actually, I turned off the top-down camera when I unplugged this, but that's not bad. Maybe we can actually use the top-down camera to show this off now. That wasn't too bad. I mean, for like 20 bucks on AliExpress, that definitely helped make this job a little easier. There's one little solder thing that could be better. I'm gonna see if it's still warm enough if I can It was actually still warm enough. Whew. Dude, that smoke is like cigarette smoke. That's a smoke smell that I haven't smelled in a very long time. Ugh. There's still a few pins that are like soldered to the side of it, I guess. So I'm going to try and move them away from center. Okay, I think now we should be able to pull this out a little easier. That was not what I was expecting, but all the pins seem like they're still intact. I think I may have ripped one of the pads off, one or two of the pads. I have never seen the underneath of this before, and you won't either because it won't focus, apparently. Never seen the underneath of this before. Interesting. Okay, well, I imagine it goes in like this. Yeah, that looks right. Everything fit in like beautifully. Okay, cool. In a minute, we will solder that down, but I think we'll do that last actually, because I think it'll be easier to solder the CPU and RAM down if I don't have the cart slot in the way, so that's probably gonna be the last thing we do. Time for our other tool that I've definitely used before. We are gonna be using the hot air gun station, this thing, it blows hot air. The audio will once again not be that good, but we're gonna be removing the RAM, the CPU, and this little guy called the crystal. And normally I would like tape all of this off, but I'm not gonna worry about reusing any of this stuff. So, I mean, maybe the power switch would be nice to keep, but so I'm just going to put flux all along all of these pins. Every single pin will have so much flux, and then I've never removed a crystal before, so lather it up. Hopefully that's good enough. I'm gonna turn this on. It's gonna be loud, and I guess we'll do 376 because that's what I had it set at for the GBAs of doing pretty much the same thing as this. So it's actually not that loud, but this is at minimum airflow. A little bit louder at max. Actually not that loud. I think we'll do like half airflow here. I'm gonna move this up a little higher so it's out of my way, and I'm just circling around over and over, making sure all of that solder gets nice and flowed. Even though we're not really worrying about like how good this board is after we're done with it, because it's not really going to be reusable, still want to make sure that we get all of those pins off easily. That was not the best removal, but it's fine. Now I'm just gonna do the same thing to the RAM chip. That one's a little easier to grab. And I guess I'll just heat up the crystal. Hopefully those don't go bad with too much heat. I think that I might need a different crystal, so thankfully I have a ton of other boards I can rip them from. Like this previous failure of a Poco mod. So now we gotta use the microscope, because this is really tiny soldering, if you couldn't tell. And just to clarify, these crystals are different looking, and I needed one that matches the the soldering points on the board. So probably should have taken note of what direction those were in when I took that off, but oh well. But what we're gonna do right now is just plop these chips down and try and line up those pins as best we can. These pads are already pre-tinned, which isn't the easiest, but it's fine. We'll get around it. It'll be no big deal. And I'm pretty much just going to put a bunch of flux down and solder each and every little pin down with my soldering iron. Yes, it'd be easier if I used a hot plate or hot air, but yeah, I prefer to just do it by hand with the soldering iron versus with hot air, because chances I melt something are very high with the hot air. So I'm gonna put flux down in each of the corners. I'm not worried that I just completely misaligned that, because we are just going to make sure this gets soldered down in a couple of spots lined up so it's locked into place. And then we're gonna do some drag soldering after that. Right now I'm getting out one of my dental tools. Seriously, it's an actual dental pick, because they're very small enough that it'll be very helpful for me to get between all these pins, but right now I can make some micro adjustments with it. Oops. If I am coordinated enough, I can make some micro adjustments. I'm going to put my soldering iron down for a moment. Okay, that looks really lined up. Not quite. A little more to the right, but I still want to look up down at the bottom here and over here. So these pins look lined up on the sides, but the top and bottom sets are off. So we're going to try and just knock these over just a bit, just a little bit. Oh my gosh, we may have done it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, so close. Okay. Now we can look over at this corner and it's off over here. Okay, that's fine. This one is so much more sensitive. Okay, I know that's not going to be right. If you go over to this corner, oh, it's so close though. I think there's just too much solder on these pins to the point where I might just remove all of the solder from these points on the board. I think it's just too tall. Okay, let's do that. I don't want to be here all day. Some of those pads almost look lifted and I'm kind of scared, but let's just trust the process, all right? I'm just gonna add a little too much solder to each of the corners. I'm kind of purposely trying to bridge them right now because I just want these pins, I want this whole CPU to be locked down. And then I'm just going to go along each of these pins with my iron and convince them to connect to the pads below it without bridging. But I don't know if this is actually doing anything. Yeah, this isn't doing anything. There we go. This is not going as well as the funny playing boards normally go, but I'm pretty much just dragging the solder along all of these pins and going down the line. Okay, this is going a little bit better, but there's definitely too much solder on these pins right now. That's fixable for sure, but now let's go down this line. My iron needs to be cleaned desperately. I'm gonna need a little extra solder, so I'm gonna steal some from these bridging pins over here. Try and get some to stick to my iron so I can use it over here. It is not working nearly as well as it did on the top. That's all right. We'll go to hopefully the other sides will do better. Almost none of these look connected. All right, cool. This is exactly why I didn't want to do a tutorial for this. I don't know what I'm doing. Like other than that bridging there, which I will take care of, these pins, whoa, these pins up top look amazing. So let's see if we can do the same to this side. All right, well, I know there's some bridging left over still, but I just want to check the pins real quick. Okay, these are actually locked down. Maybe I'm doing better than I thought. Let's start up here. This is what the dental tool is like best used for, is checking to make sure that all these pins are locked in. If they move, they're not soldered down. If they don't move, they're fine. They're good. They're where we want them to be. If they have a little bit of sway, it's fine. Well, these look pretty locked in to me, but this is what I'm talking about. These are not locked in. These are movable. These need to be better. I hope that's not bridged because that would be very bad. Like a GG. These aren't bad. These look bad. Okay. And none of these look like they're soldered down. There's also just so much flux. Yeah, these are not soldered down at all. Okay. Let's just try this again. I'm going to do this with different flux, see if that makes a difference or not. But yeah, I'm pretty much just going to go silent for a while because there's nothing crazy to talk about. So now that this is cleaned up a little bit, we can go through each of these pins. I'm going to clean off this too. And we can see if they wiggle. I've already tested these pins up top, but I did mess with these a little bit more. So we'll double check these, but I think these are all solid. There's still a ton of flux underneath these pins and underneath the chip that I'm not going to worry about. All the flux I use is no clean flux, but doesn't mean it doesn't leave stuff behind. All the top ones are good. This right side I'm a little worried about though, so we'll see. This is what I'm worried about here, because that definitely looks like it's bridging, and I don't know how to fix that, because it looks like the solder mask has just been like straight up removed, and you can't really remove solder once it's soldered down, but all those are good. So we'll worry about the bridging later, I guess. Oh, and behind that piece of dust is a pin we need to resolder. So we'll remember that. But I think that might be the only pin we need to solder. So we'll save that for later. And the left side. So it's just that one pin and the two on the right side that are bridging. And then we can test those that we just messed with again. And I think we are good. So going over to this side, let's find that spot where it's bridged and we'll see we can put some flux down and fix that. Oh, thank God. Wait, no, maybe. I think it's just like actually bridging there. I don't know why. I'm gonna spend some time cleaning this area up to investigate a little more. Okay, so I scraped the solder away because it was definitely soldered down. I hope I didn't ruin any traces. I definitely scraped some stuff here, but I don't know if that's going to mess with anything. There might be multiple parts to this. The fun thing is I can't test this yet, but I don't think these are deep enough scratches to make a difference because like just doing a little scratch like that, it just removes the solder mask a little bit. I think it's just exposed copper. I don't think I actually broke the trace, but it was a pretty graphic scratch and you can definitely see where I scratched it. So we'll see. Hopefully it didn't do anything and I didn't ruin a sponsored project. But let's move over to the RAM. I'm going to try this a little bit differently. I'm going to add some of my own solder to these pads. So I think maybe that will help a little bit. I don't know, honestly. That was infinitely easier. And I think I nailed these. So let's see, checking the pins the same way. I don't think this is a PCB way problem. I think this is probably based off of how Froggo Customs designed the board, but I could be wrong. Maybe I just did do a bad placement of this RAM piece, but it's lined up top and not lined up down here, but also lined up pretty well over here. Maybe I could have slid it over a little bit more. But I don't know, it's not quite adding up here. Okay, so that pin needs some help. This pin looks like it needs help, but I don't know. This one kind of looks like it needs help too. We'll see. We'll reflow them again real quick. See what we can do. I would have greatly appreciated if this capacitor right here was a little further back so I could actually fit my freaking soldering iron in here. Bang, 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 bang. Even though they're slightly off center here. And this one is wiggling with a lot of force. Ooh, okay, there we go. Why don't we just do a little bit of that action? Why don't I just force those pins? Ooh, maybe that's why we don't force those pins. Oh God, okay. I regret every action I've taken. Let's reflow those again. Add a little more flux too, just because you can never have too much. Add a little bit more solder. This is too much, way too much. There we go. Now all of these pins should be perfect. Beautiful. I'm not going to bother testing those other ones because we're good. I tested all of these, I think. I'll test them again real quick because there's really not that many. All right. I think we're finally done with the microscope. I'm going to solder the crystal by hand as well as the link port and the cart slot. And that's going to be it for this video. Soldering the battery is pretty simple. Soldering the speakers is pretty simple. And screwing all together, do you really need to see that? I'll probably do some recording of it for the main channel video, but I don't know if I'm going to actually talk or show my face during that. So I might throw it in the end of the video. I don't know, but I don't. This video has already been a lot and it's probably going to be a long one. I don't know. But from here, we can just slot in the link port. Is it this way? I'm going to guess it's this way, just like that. slots in there, and we can add solder pretty easily. I'll go ahead and slot the cart slot in just like we did earlier, a little bang. And I'm going to double check what the orientation of the crystal is. I don't think it really matters, but I want to double check. According to this board, the writing should be like this. So we'll have it upside down. Writing upside down. Bang. Why not? For my lungs' sake. I like my lungs better than having good audio for the second channel. So we'll turn that on. Put our flux down. It looks good to me. Now we can flip all this over, put a bunch of flux down over the remaining pins. I'm gonna add some solder to my iron and hold this down flat and solder down the 2 farthest pins. Let me add a little more solder. Now it's pretty locked into place, and I should be able to just add solder to each and every one of these pins. I'm gonna do it to the link port as well, but the link port seems pretty locked in, so I'll just add solder the better way. I did such a bad job with the link port that I think I'm just gonna skip past it. Like, I don't want people to see that. And this is officially as much as I can do until I get the batteries and the speakers. You're supposed to like test throughout this to make sure everything's working and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I don't have a battery. And I guess I have ways of putting power to this, but meh, when have I ever tested things? I might throw this in the ultrasonic cleaner because there's flux everywhere, but we'll see. All right, let's hopefully finish this thing. My allergies are kicking my butt right now, so the energy level is low and my voice is quiet. Deal with it. I got these batteries on Amazon. I'll have them linked down below. They're the size that Froggo said that you should get. So that's what I got. I already checked they fit in the battery clips. I forgot to bring the plastics over here. Oh well. I don't even think I can fully put it together in this video because I don't have any M2 screws. I keep forgetting to buy M2 screws. And then I was going to go to Home Depot and see if they had any. And then I was like, oh, I don't want to step outside because my allergies are so bad. So here we are. I'm going to go ahead and strip these wires. I have no idea how long they need to be or how thick these wires are. That works. I feel like we would probably only need one to start, right? I also am too lazy to get out new wires for the speakers. So I'm just going to go long wire is positive, short wire is negative. Probably fix it later, but for testing purposes, this will do fine. Why would you put the positive on bottom on the left side, sir? It's incredibly confusing. Okay, and then we've got our little speakers here. I don't know which one's the positive pad and which one's the negative pad. Oh, that's why he did it positive and negative, because that way it matches up on each side with the PCB. Okay, that's kind of smart. Okay, apparently these speakers are incredibly magnetic. I know speakers are magnetic, but man. Oh God. Stop doing that. What is going on? Stop doing that. Oh my God. I've never had such a strong magnetic speaker that magnets to my soldering iron. How do I even desolder this? Oh my God, I'm ruining the speaker. This is awful. I actually hate this. Now we can put in the screen kit. I'm just gonna use the OLED because it's what I have available right now. And I'm gonna solder this to VCC1, I think. It's probably the way to go. Maybe VCC1 switch was probably the better way to go. I don't know. We'll see. We're just gonna plug this in, hope for the best. And this button down here is the on button. No volume though. How do you turn this up? Okay, max volume. That's loud. Okay, it's coming from both speakers. Cool. All right, I guess I did it. Let's Honestly, I wasn't entirely expecting this to work. Let's do it like this. And where's this cart? Put in that, and let's see. Do it work? Beautiful. Okay. We've got, I guess we got to do start, select, up, right, left, down, A, and B. Wait, I said that backwards, but it works. Cool. Let's see if it charges. It charges. Okay, let's turn this off. I'm going to solder in the second battery, and then I'm just going to clean up as much of this flux as I can. I thought about some ultrasonic cleaning to this, but honestly, I'm just too lazy. Plus, it could make the tape go bad that holds these buttons together, so I don't really want to mess with it. Here is my shell, and it's not as like clean as I thought it was going to be, but maybe I got the wrong type of printing. I didn't go for like the glossy one just because I knew that'd be a pain in the butt to remove fingerprints from. So I just went with this. And I didn't really care about seeing the details through the back of the shell. So it's not polished. It's just pretty basic. And even though PCBWay did pay for this entire project, minus the speakers and batteries and screws if I have to get those, and buttons and screen, they are also paying me money for the sponsored video on the main channel. So I guess that covers it. And honestly, it doesn't leave me that much room for profit. This is a really expensive mod, but where was I going? It's a decent quality print. It is better than I could do. Let's go with that. But one of the other problems is I did not get M2 screws, as I think I said earlier. So I'm trying to figure out if this would be too much. Probably. Yeah, because I would have to be very careful about not going deep enough. But I also have quite a few SP screws and even aftermarket SP screws. But if I just went with like the little tiny, these Phillips ones, I feel like that would work just fine. Yeah, I feel like that would work perfectly. Maybe these are M2 screws and I just don't even realize it. But I think I'm going to go with that. Roll the dice. So I'm going to look up the actual tutorial for this so I don't mess it up. I should probably also get some SP buttons, huh? I kind of feel like just going with the classic gray. I was going to go with white, but I don't know. Classic gray just kind of fits. Why not? But I did get the volume wheel in white, assuming that I was going to do a white thing. Whatever. I also need membranes. Okay, I need to clean these, but I found some. All right, I guess we'll just go with the order of how he's doing it, which he doesn't look like he's got everything soldered together right now. Okay, and this is starting to feel like this is not gonna fit. It is a tight fit, and I'm getting scared that I'm gonna break the plastic because it's very thin and 3D printed, but I think we're in enough. It's fine. We're fine. I have no idea how long I was not recording. For like 2 minutes? Okay, well, if you saw a black screen for 2 minutes, oh no. Sorry. Oh, he solders the speakers in afterwards. That's kind of smart. I might have to do that myself. Nah, we'll try it without. We'll see how bad it gets. It's probably going to be pretty bad. First off, we're going to put this thing on. Then we can put the speakers in. Okay, that all looks fine and dandy. Okay, of course. I'm going to have to desolder these because he has them going upside down. Now we should be able to put these down. Oh, okay. I already messed up with the screws. That's all right. Okay, we're cooking. I'm not really saying much. This is terrible. And that's exactly why I didn't want to continue with this half of the video. But, oh well. This is not going in very easily at all. I don't think it's the Frog Boy's fault. I think my screw post may already be broken. I might try a different screw here because it's already pretty bad. We'll go with the longer gold screw here. That actually worked. Okay. Well, the silver screw on this side is fine, so we'll leave it. Then we can put the battery clip. We can put the battery in the clip, and we can put the battery. We can put the battery in the clip. And I said we could put the battery in the clip. It's not going well. Okay. Where does he orient those wires? His wires are just shorter than mine. Cool. I also need one of the shields from a back half of a Game Boy Color. Okay. Now that we've got that, we can go back over here. I'm going to just orient all the wires around. Don't forget your brightness button. That also has to go in there, and hopefully it stays. I feel like this shielding is going to push all of these wires down and out of the way, but I need to make sure that this wire is not over that screw hole. So I think from here on out, put the brightness button back in, put this over the top. I think those wires are in the way because I cannot close this. Okay, give me a moment. Okay, maybe this will work. I feel like that's just going to tear through that wire, and it is. Okay, I guess I can just shorten the battery wires. That would make sense. I could also shorten the speaker wire, but that would make too much sense. These are also really thick pieces of wire, and it's kind of annoying. I'm going to risk it and cut these like pretty much in half. We'll just do one side. If it's not good enough or too much, then we'll know for the other side. Oh, and I am stripping these way too long. That feels a lot better. I mean, I only need one battery to turn this on, right? It's a little harder to solder with the clip in, but we should be good to go there. Now, hopefully we should be able to close this up. I feel like the brightness button does not fit well in there. I feel like a lot of these are not lining up as good as I would hope. We'll see. Let's screw this down. I'm going to use the gold Phillips screws from the SP, the motherboard screws. I feel like those are fine enough replacements. This looks disgusting right now because it's got all the shmoo on it. But one last thing we got to do. I really should have wiped this down after I cleaned the motherboard. Oh well. This is the volume wheel knob thing, and we got to snap that on there. It is recommended that you do a metal one. Well, that's a $40 volume wheel. I think it's more like $36, $37. I don't know. It's been a month since I've looked at this. So yeah, I was like, even though it's PCBWay's money, I think that's a bunch of crap. I know it's not even really a hot take to be complaining about the volume wheel, but it's just annoying. There could have easily been a different style potentiometer, like the original style. Like any of these could have easily fit multiple places along this board. But, you know, I get it. Some people like to be quirky. That's fine. It's his design, not mine. But the thing that pisses me off is the fact that it's supposed to be metal, and so it's a $40 thing just to adjust the volume. That's just plain stupid. This is already an expensive mod. This doesn't need to be metal. So I'm going to test to make sure that you can actually do it with plastic, because this is already an expensive mod. I don't think you at home should have to pay $40 just for this. You're already spending like $300 to do this mod, maybe even more. I haven't really looked at the total cost yet. I haven't put a dime into this. Well, actually, it's not true. Let's just see if we can pop this on here. Sort of. It pops on, but it just comes right back out. It's not like tight enough. Yeah, it just pops right off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it. I'm just going to dab a super glue, and I'm going to hold it there for I don't know how long, probably the rest of this recording. I have no idea which way that dot is supposed to be facing, but I'm going to be stuck here for a little bit, so I might as well clean this off. This is going to end in like 30 seconds of recording, so I realized I should probably like turn it on and show it off. Yeah, I kind of wish I would have gone with the glossy back because it's not that pretty like this. Oh well, that's on me. But those SP screws worked totally fine. I think using all motherboard screws, if you have them, I mean, like, honestly, if you don't have a bunch of parts like I do, then you should probably just get some M2 screws. I feel like you can probably pick them up at most hardware stores, but he does link a 450 piece set that is overkill. But immediately, I don't really like this cart slot. I think it's cool being able to see the full art, but I don't like that it's exposed. Like the whole cart slot is exposed without a game in there. Maybe a little additional piece that you could cover it with. I don't know. Or I guess you can just use, always have a game in there. But let's make sure everything's working. This is hard to turn on. Wait, okay. Yeah, that doesn't work very well. That brightness button is not quite lined up, and there's no way for me to be able to press that in. So let's see. We've got start, select, A, right, B, left, A, down, B, up. Everything seems to work. Touchscreen. I mean, that's not on him that I can't hit the arrows. I can't even like, can I get it with my pinky? Okay, I have to use my pinky and it's not easy. Uh-oh, I think I may have super glued this into place. Oh, uh-oh. This is not great.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know how to fix this. The purple is coming off, so I'm guessing they dye the 3D print. Hopefully that allows us to turn it. This is not great. Okay, I'm gonna have to get some super glue solvent and hope that I didn't just ruin that. Oh well. This seems like a more comfortable way to play GBC though. I don't know. You'll see my full review on it on the main channel. I'm not going to review it here. That's probably it for this video. Go watch the main channel video. It's on screen right now. Go click it if you haven't watched it already. And if you have, go watch it again at quarter speed to get my watch time up. Thank you very much. Bye.